Hello, my name is Tyler Knott Gregson, and today I'm going to be reading a little bit of a short story that I wrote for this anthology called Disconnected. Just a bit of it. 21 years like a blink, 21 years like an eternity, and some of my hair still holds color. I refuse to move, refuse to give up the idea that one day you'd need to have a home to come home to. Some days it gets so quiet in the house, only the wind through the storm door makes a sound. Dad still hasn't found his voice. Maybe it was the questions, I think to myself. Maybe he answered one too many. Wordless, we still find each other in the moonlight some nights, flesh against flesh in the motions of what was romance, what was pleasure once. You don't want to hear this, I am sure, but it is part of this story, part of our story. I sing to him in the evenings still, while he cooks dinner or I clean up after it. Soft songs, and I think he enjoys them. He still holds my hand when we go on long drives, still squeezes it when something beautiful finds its way into our vision. He says he's watching the road, but I think he's always looking for you, even after this time. Winters are the hardest, when the cold comes and buttons up the house like a tomb. We orbit one another like moons, grazing each other from time to time, but never colliding, at least not for long. Something about the darkness, the way it comes early and sleeps late, the way it steals sunlight from the front windows feels too familiar. Darkness has a way of reminding you it's where we came from, where we're heading back to. Time feels too slow in the frozen months, and everything feels more like surviving than actually living. I feel you, though, when the steam rises on the window panes. I swear I can remember your tiny fingertips tracing tiny letters. Never mind this. Memory is a road I try not to go down too often. Winters are the hardest, but like I said, live with an ache long enough and it starts to feel normal, starts to lose its sting. We've come through enough of them to know now we'll come through them again. Repetition is a soothing thing if you let it be. In the warmer months, we sit on the front porch, the sounds of bird calls in those haunted fields behind our house. We watch the light fade off behind the hills to the west. Right out beyond the driveway we watched you drive away from all those years ago. Wrist unbroken, not a hint of apprehension. Dad goes in before me every night without fail. I think he is afraid of the woods out beyond the tree line. I think he hears you calling in the black like some howling thing. I think. Some questions don't have answers, I remind myself. I close my eyes and feel the warmth from the teacup in my palms and think back to your fingertips sliding against that young girl's, whose name I still, for the life of me, cannot remember, and I think of the courage I saw in you. I see in you still. I tell myself, eyes shut to the sunset glowing on the back of my eyelids like lanterns. You left because you had to leave. You chose a life unwritten and couldn't bear a goodbye. I tell myself you were not taken, you were not harmed, you were not broken or in despair. I tell myself it was a kindness that somewhere you're changing someone's world in a million better ways. I rock back and forth. For hours I do this, son, and listen to the music of the floorboards beneath me. I find a rhythm to the song and I get lost in it, long after your father has gone to sleep on moonless nights. If I do it long enough, I hear footsteps in the sounds. I hear steps, slow and shuffling, coming up the porch stairs, and I hear them grow still and steady in front of me. I tell you this because it's the only truth I know, the only one I have left to tell, and I tell you it so you'll hear it somehow. For we are connected, umbilical and invisible, still. I keep my eyes closed, for I know you are there, in front of me, and I know your face has changed. Aged and handsome, the years have worn you smooth in some places, wrinkled in others. I feel the weight of you between us, and I hear you whisper of where you've been. I pretend to open my eyes to see your eyes, tunnels now, and I wait for you to lend me that half grin. I wait and ask no questions, but when you smile, I am no longer here. I am there, years before this. I can still hear the laughter bubbling out of you as you lick the ice cream running down your wrist. I can still see the melting remains of the cone that fell, and I can still hear you tell me that it's okay, that it was good while it lasted. I wonder, always, where your courage came from. I just want to say to everybody, stay healthy and stay safe and just be kind. Thanks a lot.